So for us, Helix, this is our 22nd year. We are very happy that we were the first people in Salem district. Let's make it very clear, in Salem district, we were the first people to talk about SLD, specific learning disability. I think if I remember in 1997, I started discussing. I was a counselor in a school, so where a lot of children reported not studying. That's how I started my career. Now today, Helix Open School is in its 22nd year. Coming October 24th is our 22nd foundation day. So we are very happy that we have completed 2 decades of kind of a service on this particular area, and we have created a lot of awareness. So next 5 days, 6:30 to 7:20, we will be discussing about these topics. Today, we are the first day, dyslexia and emotional intelligence. It will be handled by me. On the last day, that's on 10/10, again, I'll be talking about the success stories. Children who are with dyslexic being so successful and doing an excellent work in the community. So that I will take on 10th. Tomorrow, Devi Priya, she's the secretary and psychologist and a remedial instructor with 20 years of experience, will be handling on reading challenges of a dyslexic child. On 8th, dyscalculia, the problem in maths, challenges in maths, will be handled by Sasikala. Again, 20 years of experience. She is a psychologist and a remedial instructor. We are all part of a core team in Helix Open School. And on 9th, we have an interesting person, Mrs. Sweta. She's from Chennai. She's a daughter of Dr. Chandrasekhar, who's a founder of Madras Dyslexia Association. Sweta is a daughter, and today she has created an organization called Hydra, imparting multiple intelligence and skill-based training for dyslexic children. So she'll be talking about multiple intelligence with the dyslexic children. So this is the agenda for the next 5 days. I'm sure all of you will join exactly at 6:30, and we will finish it by 7:20 and taking up 5 minutes for discussion. So let's move on. Welcome to Helix Open School webinar series. This is our infrastructure. We have around 20,000 square feet of infrastructure. We are also very happy to say we are a showcase school. This year we have been accredited as a Microsoft showcase school. In open schools category, we would say very proudly, in India, we are the only school, thanks to Microsoft for giving it that honor. So we started in 2001. So I am Senthil Kumar. I have done my medical and psychiatry social work and PhD in medical and psychiatry. I have a 27 years of experience in the field of education, training, counseling, and doing a lot of workshops, teachers workshop with regard to skill development, life skill development, and on SLD. The core team, Devi Priya, tomorrow she will be handling, Sasikala will be handling the next day, and Rajalakshmi, she is our trustee, she is a special educator. Usha Ramakrishnan is our mentor, 35 years of experience, 40 years of experience in the field of psychology. Really a very good renowned person in this industry and travels a lot all over the world, does a lot of workshop. She was to join, of course, she was to join and handle a session on multiple intelligence, but due to her assignment, she's in Uganda doing a program for parents and teachers, so she could not be joined. So Sweta will be taking up that session. We are an accredited center to NIOS for OBE, A level, D level, C level, secondary and senior secondary. So far, more than 750 students have passed out. We are very happy that we received this wonderful award in the year 2017, judged as the best open school by India Today. Okay, let's come back to the subject now. Children, when they have learning issues, either from the parent or by the teacher, now this is how it will be all labeled, or it will be complained. I think you will all agree when the child is not performing in academics. These are the words that we normally use in day-to-day life, in school or in home. Seems to be lazy, lack of conceptual understanding, passive, not being very active, either in class or whenever it comes to academic asset, slow writing, directional confusion, always finding difficult between the right, left, up, down, or north, west, east, south, all the spatial and directions, having a lot of challenges. Can't remember, could be, this is where many people say the child is having seriously a memory issue. Or you can see children using their fingers quite often. They might be in 6th standard, 7th standard, but still for simple operations, for arithmetic and for subtraction, they'll be using a lot of finger movements, using their fingers to count or subtract. Always on the move, not interested to sit, so keep on moving from one place to other. Completing the task so fast or very fast and trying to distract, disturb, or whether they are not interested to see whether they have written it rightly or wrong, they just move on to the other aspects of it. Then lack of friendship skill. It's not with all. Please understand, all this complaint is not, the entire complaint will not be with one student, okay? But you will find at least 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 predominant, because of which a child loses interest or having a lot of challenges in academics. Now, this is where a common complaints. Please understand, these are all common complaints or common indicators. Parents' side, it will be a complaint more often. From the teacher side, it could be an indicator where, without understanding the real challenges of academic, we will be labeling the child with these statements like, does not like to read loudly in class. Yes, whenever you ask to read any subject, a child will be not be interested or will not be willing to take it up and read. Like, and these are something which you would have come across. Am I going very fast, or is the pace is okay with you all? I just want to get the feedback, since in a webinar it's always a problem, like I don't see anyone, so at least if you interact, it will be a little easy for me to understand.
You're moving, sir. Good.
Yes.
So perfectly,
Yes, sir, you're clear.
I'm waiting for you people to answer in the chat box. Is my pace is okay, or am I fast? That's the question I'm asking. Okay, at least one person has responded. Thank you. Absolutely okay. Yeah. Can I know from which schools you people are participating, so that for my better understanding, whether you are from a CBSE school or from a matriculation school, state board? Apps. Yes, it's okay. Thank you. CBSE school. Okay. Special school, CBSE. Great. So thank you. So we have people from special school, matriculation. Nice. Thanks a lot. Okay, now please understand, after pandemic, it seems like more than 50% of the children have all these problems. So you should be very careful, okay? Pandemic has created one more challenge, that's called learning gap and learning loss. Let's not get confused with learning gap, learning loss with dyslexic. Dyslexic is a condition. It's not just happened because of this corona. So many people have these challenges also, are failing to understand what has happened due to pandemic. Due to pandemic, children didn't have the opportunity to come to regular school and be a part of regular learning. Because of that, they were disinterested, or some of them never had the proper remote learning facilities. And due to that, they have missed the class. And that could have caused a lot of challenges after the second year when they come to school. So that is not called as dyslexic. Please understand. The child has not got an opportunity to study properly, or the conducive environment was not there for the child to read, practice, then discuss as it was happening during the regular schooling. So that is called as learning loss, learning gap. And because of the learning gap, that's a learning loss. Because of the learning loss, now the children are failing to read at their space, or having some challenges on writing and understanding. So before that, if they were good in all this aspect, then let's not get confused. Then it's not called dyslexic. Now, dyslexic is a condition. Definitely it had been there right from the beginning. So we'll come back to that. But why I'm making a point here, since since the whole world has started the regular school, after 2 years of pandemic, many teachers come back with this complaint of whatever I have shown, and they say, whether, sir, these children looks like a dyslexic children. No, let's not come into such judgments, or let's not start labeling the children like that without a proper assessment. But for a common understanding, dyslexia is different because of learning gap and learning loss. If the child is not reading, that's a different issue. So you have to deal these two things separately, for which you can do an informal assessment, or you can do a formal assessment for the required children who really face challenges. Okay, with that sort of a introduction. Now, normally from the children, what did we see like actually? What it is like? Normally what we see only we are saying to people like. Actually, there are other side. What it is? Children have multiple intelligence. Every children have a hindered multiple intelligence. Are we giving opportunity on those areas? Now, this is where it will be discussed on 9th by Sweta, how we are connecting multiple intelligence and dyslexic children, and how we are going to give opportunities. In Helix, this is a core thing that we integrate with our subject. We have occasions, we have subjects, and based on the subject and occasion, the multiple intelligence, the 8 multiple intelligence areas are given exposure, continuous exposure till the time the children is with Helix school. And during that period, we try to assess and find out which is a predominant strength the child has. Because we have to understand, unless otherwise the opportunity is not given, we will not be in a position to decide which intelligence is predominant with the child line. Like, given a chance, or given an understanding, a minimum 3 to 4 that my multiple intelligence you will be having it like. So unless otherwise, if you're not giving the exposure to the children on these areas, you will fail to understand what I'm talking here. The reason language or linguistic intelligence is one predominant area the child will have always challenges in a dyslexic child. So only keeping that as a testing material or giving exposure towards that one area you cannot come to a conclusion that this child does not have any other intelligence. Now, this is what sometimes happens in a regular school. The child is not performing well in the academics. He is stopped from all the extracurricular, co-curricular, and other skill-based activities or opportunities. I'm not saying all school, but typically schools do that because there is a pressure from the parent. When you have a pressure from the parent, already the child is not performing in academics. So the school has a pressure because we have to show results. Today, we want to show results right from LKG. That's again okay, those are all the challenges of a school. Like you have to show the performance right from LKG to college till the time you finish. So the performance pressure is always on the child. This could cause emotional challenges, or this could cause into a behavioral challenges. So that's the reason multiple intelligence plays a very, very important role, and every child has a hidden thing, but you have to give exposure. Extraordinary capabilities. The S is missing there. I'm sorry. Extraordinary capabilities. Amazing. The child might lack or has a lot of challenges on the reading front, spelling aspect. But it doesn't mean that the child does not have any other capabilities. They're very good in a lot of skills. Like, are we recognizing that? Because today the topic is dyslexic and emotional intelligence. When you recognize, the self-esteem goes high. Very, very important. Let me give a challenge to you people. Like you can depute any psychologist or a senior counselor, take a self-esteem form, give it to the children and see how many of them are really feeling good about themselves, coming to school on a day-to-day effect. Honestly, if you see, definitely 30 to 40, sometimes 50% of the children will have very poor, low self-esteem. End of the day, education should give high self-esteem. For that purpose only we come to school. The purpose of education is two things: to give self-esteem. Second thing, to give values. These are the two important things a school should do, not just completing the subject. Completing a subject and getting a mark is part of the school system, wherein the child should feel happy to come to school and his self-esteem should be high, so that in that process, her emotional intelligence becomes very strong. And what are the key components of emotional intelligence? Self-awareness, self-regulation. First two things are very, very important, and a key thing a child should be able to give before the age of 10 years. That 0 to 10 years plays a very vital factor on these two areas, self-awareness and self-regulation. This multiple intelligence and extraordinary capabilities always gives a child a sense of like, yes, I'm good, I'm worth, I can contribute. I may not be strong in education or in academics, not in education. I may not be strong in academics. I might be getting poor marks, or I might fail one time and pass next time, not inconsistent. But I can do a lot of other things. By doing a lot of other things, I feel worth. I'm also a contributor to the school. A contributor to the school can be of different things. So we as a management has to understand this. Every child has a potential. Every child has a capability. Do we have an assessment? Do we have time to give an opportunity for children to identify their capabilities and skills? That's a question. If the school is able to give that, great, wonderful, hats off. If not, please try to inculcate or find time to put these things into your lesson plan. Lesson plan without multiple intelligence or finding out an extraordinary capabilities. If you don't have that, I'm sorry, working with dyslexic children will be still a higher challenge in a regular school system. Who knows? All these children could be a potential future leaders. They can become an entrepreneur, they can become a politician, they can become a great modeler, singer, and the research has shown this. N number of times it is proved. In India, people may not come forward. Those who are dyslexic, they are not coming forward to say that they are dyslexic. That's a challenge. But not in abroad. In abroad, people are coming out. They are discussing. Steven Spielberg, he has talked extensively about his problem, what problem he had in school. He is a dyslexic. Richard Branson owns 360 companies, a multi-billionaire. He's a dyslexic. Like that, we can name so many people, but in India, it's like a stigma. See, dyslexic need not to be a stigma at all. Like when we talk about other disabilities, should not be looked as a stigma. Dyslexia is a lesser challenge compared with, we should not compare, but for a kind of understanding, looking at a CP child, autism, intellectual challenge, those are all higher degree of challenges. That needs more attention, more specialization to handle. But when it comes to dyslexia, accommodation and remedial teaching is more than enough with looking into the multiple intelligence and extraordinary capabilities. That's it. Are we fitting in the remedial teaching into it? Remedial teaching means it's not reteaching. So this child could be a potential leader. See, a dyslexic child may have a problem in reading. It's not that he cannot communicate. He'll be a very good communicator. Oral is not a challenge. It's again not for all. Not for all. It's all percentage we are talking. So a potential leader could be missed out because of labeling him, not understanding him. Since he is not able to read, since he has a lot of spelling mistakes, because of that, he's scoring less mark, not providing opportunity. We might miss out a leader. That leader can be in any field. So there are potential leaders of future. And always, you cannot decide in 6th standard. You cannot decide a child in 10th standard. Why not? You cannot even decide a student even after college completing a first degree. It's a long period. It's going to take a lot of time for a child to understand what he wants to become. It's a long process. Only 10% of the children or 15% to see. Even you people can see that the first 10 rankers or 20 people would have decided, I'm going to do this. The rest of the people would have been still searching. Even after college first degree, they will have the quest for search, and then the PG degree they will decide. Otherwise, they complete their degree, they come back to the society. By working, they will identify their strength and they become a great businessman or a creator, or they join some companies like. So they are waiting to bloom. But what our system does, we start labeling. Immediately, when they come to 10th standard, the mark system is so much prevalence. If they are getting only 40 marks, 35, 33, they are looked down. Even 80 is looked down today. That's a part of the problem, system problem. But these children will never, when I can't say never, predominantly these children will fall between 35 marks to somewhere between 65, 70. The major chunk. Even there are children with dyslexic, they score 90 marks. That's the rare phenomenon. They work on their remedial. They have that energy to accept, understand, and they work on their remedial instructions very strongly. And with the help of technology support, these people come up. So are we giving the technology support in the school? Is again an important thing. Because we have a system, see, up to 8th standard, school can decide. Only in 10th standard public exam. But till 8th standard, school has all the liberty to change the testing pattern. It's not that every child should sit for 2.5 hours to write the exam and get frustrated in spite of knowing the challenge, and it will be corrected. Scores will be given 0, 2, 3, 5, and the poor child has put in a lot of efforts. It's not that many people think dyslexic children, they don't put effort or they don't read. I'm sorry. You people have not seen it. Like, children work, children put their heart. They will study for more than 4 hours. They take all the notes. It's very unfortunate. It's a condition in the brain. It's a neurodevelopmental challenge. It's a information processing challenge. Because of the wiring problem, they are not able to write correctly. Spelling mistakes are there, which you cannot go and make the wiring properly here. You cannot open the brain and you can do surgeries. It's a condition. That is why dyslexia is called a condition. It's not a disease. If it is a disease, you can give medicine. You have COVID, that's a kind of a disease, a virus, and you had an injection and the virus is out. That took 2 years' time. So this is not a disease wherein you can give tablets. Okay. And again, this is not a memory challenge. Children have good memory. But the condition is different. Because of the condition in the brain, predominantly on the left-hand side, children find reading and spelling a major challenge. Now, this is what we see on the right-hand side. Now, what we see immediately is we will label them poor IQ. And in many schools, I'm surprised, I don't know who started using these words, slow learners. That's been labeled slow learners. Now, during my workshop, during my teacher training workshop, and we also conduct 20 days of certification program. The first question I will ask, who is a slow learner? Because in school, you people are saying slow learners, slow learners. They will say, sir, slow learners, those who are not scoring more than 40 marks, 35, 40, sometimes 50, they are all slow learners. It's very unfortunate. Those children are not slow learners. They are all intelligent children. They're getting the score is less, that's all. To your satisfaction, the score is less. Otherwise, they are scoring 50%, 40%. That's an average. That's not slow learner. They are average. A slow learner means his IQ will be less than 90 in the IQ scale. We'll come back. So immediately the complaint will be the child is poor IQ or with a lot of spelling errors. I'm asking him to write for more than 10 times, 20 times, still he is writing the spelling wrong. Inability to comprehend. Naturally, when a child is having a difficulty in reading and spelling, his comprehension will also have a tough time. And that can lead to academic failures. Now, this is what predominantly we see. But what is hidden, we don't see. For that hidden things, we don't give opportunity. So my recommendation for all primary teachers who are attending here, if the school management and principals are here, my only recommendation, all the primary teachers need to be trained in basic understanding of remedial teaching. Remedial teaching is not tough. Remedial teaching comes with strategy, with a basic understanding of what they have studied in B.Ed. There are other strategies which could be learned in 20 to 30 days. But 20 to 30 days, we need to find time to allow the teachers to understand the teaching aspect. Unless otherwise, we cannot help the child. Catch them young, you can reduce the problem. And children will know how to cope up. They will come up with their own coping up strategies at a later point of time. When they come to 8th standard, 9th and 10th, they will have their own coping up strategies. But till then, we have to support them with proper remedial tools or remedial strategies. Okay. Are you able to understand what I'm saying? Till now, are you able to understand? Please come in the chat box quick. We have another 20 minutes because it's a 5 days program. So you'll have a lot of things to hear. Yes. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Otherwise, you can go to my YouTube also. In my YouTube, I have around 200 videos. I've discussed detail about all this disabilities separately. So with a lot of strategies also, it's there like, okay. Now let's move on. Now this is something we do it in our school. We take 3 months time. A minimum of 3 months to 6 months to analyze a child. This is a case study. Now what we do, we look at 8 areas of a child before deciding: physical health, sensory challenges, self-care challenges, motor challenges, communication challenges, understanding, that's called cognitive challenges, social skill challenges, and emotion, that's called sense of self, emotional challenges. Now, first you have to understand these 8 areas are very critical, wherein you need to collect the data. So in our school, once they get admitted, what we do is we take time, we teach our teachers how to do this data collection. Now, this is what it should happen in your school also. The first 1 month or maximum 3 months, you need to collect data on all these areas. And when I do a workshop, this is what I normally teach them. There is a checklist. So once you collect all this information, you alone cannot do this. You have to take the help of other teachers and also parent. When it comes to physical health, when it comes to sensory areas, you have to discuss with your parents. Sometimes they don't give the data while you admit the child. See, when I worked as a counselor way back in 97 in Salem, one of the matriculation school, those days having a counselor itself a great thing. Even today, many schools don't have psychologists. So I was very happy that that school owner was from UK. So you understood the importance of counselor. So I was roped in. I used to visit the school three half days. As a counselor, first my duty was to work with teachers because I have to get the confidence of the teacher. So once the confidence was built in, I asked them the permission, can I attend your class? Because a teacher should not feel whether I'm there to assess her. My job is not to assess any teacher during those days. My job was to see how the children are behaving, performing, understanding. So later, the teachers were coming up with the problems. So this child is sleeping, always sleeping. This child is roaming, and he is not interested in writing. All the complaints like. So what I used to do was, I used to do all this data collection. So after the help, from the help with the teachers, physical educator, art teacher, sports master, all these people will be roped in. So to collect the data. So once I collect, I formulate, okay, these are the challenges. Because of this, the child is not performing here. Now again, a parent will be called. Again, from parents, we will ask a lot of other questions. Then we come to a conclusion whether really a child is having an academic difficulty or a learning challenge. Because few things could have been an academic difficulty because of fault learning or a methodology of a teacher. She or he would have been not very interesting kind of a teacher. A teacher might have doing a role properly, but for the child it will be boring, like, because no animation from her. A teacher should use mantra and mudra, 2M. Mantra, knowledge. Mudra, actions. So these two should be very, very important. I think one of my guru, Raja Govindasamy, used to tell me, like, whenever you are handling a class, you have to be an animated, that too, particularly with young children. So KG to 10 years, you need to be very animated. Then only children will love. Children will be interested to watch, listen. So this is how we collect the data from the 8 areas. And after collecting, now let's see, after all the data collection, what is learning disability? Very simple. It's a neurodevelopmental challenge. It's a challenge in the brain. So it's also called information processing challenge. Is the child is normal? Yes, he is normal. And what is normal? Only IQ can say. That too, in IQ, we never say normal. Normal is a word, it's a very colloquial word. When you say a normal human being, that doesn't have a meaning actually. Okay, you have to have a proper words to describe things. When you say it's an acceptable behavior, it's not an accepted behavior. That's how we describe. So in learning also, he learns fast, he learns slow. Like that, there is nothing called normal. Okay, because this is used quite often. He's a normal child. What is the definition for normal then? Always I ask this question. What is the definition for normal? So psychologically, you need to understand there are certain words which should be appropriately used while communicating. Otherwise, it sends a wrong message. So dyslexic children, their IQ, it's all determined with the IQ number. Because IQ test, after doing an IQ test, a number will be there. That number has a kind of an expression, a kind of a meaning, which a psychologist will write a detailed report, and that report need to be understood by the teacher or a management or a parent. Now, in a layman language, it's a challenge in the brain. That's all. It's a wiring challenge. When I say a brain, immediately parents will cry. They say, sir, my child is normal, sir. Yeah, of course, he is normal. We never said he is abnormal. Okay. So that's where we don't use this word called normal when it comes to all these things. Now, what is the challenge here? Persistent difficulty in the learning keystone academic skill. That's all. Look at this. persistent difficulty in the learning keystones and academic skills. The dyslexic child will have challenges when it comes to academic skill. That's it. But if you don't recognize it, if you don't identify it properly, this could lead to a behavioral challenges. Or since we have not understood the child, a child can become emotional, and those things are contributing factors. A child might have an emotional problem. Because of that, learning is an issue, then that's a different. Then that is different. Child was doing very well, but suddenly due to loss of the family member or loss of interest, completely get distracted. And because of that, he has a lot of emotional issues in home. Because of the emotional challenge, his academic performance has come down. Then it is not dyslexia. Then the problem is working on the emotions. Now, this is happening today after COVID. After COVID, the habit has changed. The habit formations have changed. Children are finding it very difficult to sit. So children always on the move, because 2 years they were doing all the things which were not supposed to do, or not the way they were supposed to do. AM has become PM, lot of gadgets watching. So this has contributed to the behavioral change. So this is what you are seeing now. Whereas dyslexia or specific learning disability means it's a wiring challenge, that's called neurodevelopmental challenge, or information processing challenge. Or in a layman, you have to understand, like, it's a persistent difficulty in the keystone academic skills. What is academic skills? Reading, writing, spelling. Then if it is mathematics, then dyscalculia. Now that will be talked later. Few children will have a minimal brain injury during the birth. That can lead to dyslexia. So those factors we need to see. The last sentence is very important. The last sentence. It is not simply a consequence of lack of opportunity of learning or inadequate instruction. Now, this is what happened during the corona. In corona, children lacked the opportunity to learning. Although you can say, sir, we were giving everything online. We were making everything animation, animated everything. No, you have done your job. Please understand. But the lack of opportunity due to many aspects, children have lost it. And inadequate instruction, definitely we have limitation in online. See, even today I cannot see you people. So I don't know what you are doing, whether you are listening, whether you are understanding my concepts, whether I am able to reach out to all the people. So it's like a 64 people have responded today to my call. You're all attending. But without knowing your body language, without knowing you people, like, I have to just keep on taking my class as if that you people have all understood. Please remember this. So this has happened during the corona. So it could have been an inadequate instructions also. Because of all these things, if a child is having a problem, then it's not called dyslexia. Hope you're all clear. Now, this video will be uploaded in my YouTube. So you can definitely, after 2 days, you can go to my YouTube and you can listen to it. Okay. Thank you, ma'am, for answering that. I'm listening. Okay. Difficulty and disability, two different things. Every individual will have difficulty in maths, difficulty in some subjects, but due intervention is given, a technique is taught, the difficulty fades away within 1 month or so. That's temporary. Difficulty is temporary, but disability is permanent. Now what we are talking is permanent. So many teachers also think that dyslexia can be cured. Dyslexia cannot be cured as of today. Maybe tomorrow, a lot of neuroplasticity brain researchers are happening. Tomorrow, new chips can come that can be implanted, because of which things can reduce, or genetical modification can happen in the birth itself, so that dyslexia and other things can be identified, and there could be a kind of a surgery which might come in future. But as of today, this is a disability, so it's lifelong. You can only minimize. If the child is severe, you can make it moderate. If child is moderate, you can make it mild. So 3 categories: mild dyslexic, moderate dyslexic, severe dyslexic. Dyslexic, reading challenges alone. So you should know the difference between difficulty and disability. What are the causes? It could be genetic, trauma during the birth or during the pregnancy, or it could be environmental influences, like mother working in a very hazardous place, like a smoking industry, a smoke-related industry, lead paint-related industry. So those things can cause developmental delays. Trauma, it's a lack of oxygen going to the brain due to many reasons, can also cause dyslexia. Or genetic risk factor. If a mom or a dad is a dyslexic, 30% likely a child will be a dyslexic. If the relatives in their family, if they are dyslexic, it's prevalent to the next generation, but only 30%. As of now, the research says 30%. So these are all the risk factors. These are all the causes. Okay, IQ. IQ 90 above is called average. So whenever the child is not performing, we have to do an assessment. IQ assessment only psychologists can do. Sasikala, tomorrow Devi Priya, they are all psychologists. They will do assessments. There are a lot of batteries are there. But teachers can do informal assessment. Now we teach informal assessment. I think I would say in Salem district, Sendil Public School trains every year more than 10 teachers, minimum 5 teachers, 10 teachers on the informal assessment and remedial teaching, and they impart. So last 5 years, we are helping them completely. So teachers can do informal testing, but with only informal testing, we cannot decide. So you have to do a formal testing for which a psychologist is needed. So in your school, if you have a psychologist, train that psychologist in assessing such instrument. That's what we do. So once you do the assessment, it's called 90 to 110, 109 is called average. 110 above is called high average, superior, very superior, and genius. Now, the other category, 89 to 80 is called low average, or it's called slow learners. 70 to 79 is called borderline. Still, we call it as a slow learner, but higher difficulty of slow learning. So from today onwards, don't just say an average child as a slow learner. Who is a slow learner? Who's having an IQ of below 90, 89, below 89, 89 and below. And if the child is below 70, then we say that the child has a challenge in intellectual disability. But in the clinical psychologist report, they will write as mild mental retardation, moderate mental retardation, severe mental retardation. Still, that is being used in the report writing. But when we communicate, we are not supposed to say mental retardation. It's intellectual challenge. Dyslexic children IQ will be always 90 above. Underline this. Dyslexic children, IQ will be always 90 plus. Got it? So they are average. So these children can do wonders. No doubt. Only the challenge is spelling mistake. Because of that, reading slow. For that, we have to do remedial teaching. Remedial teaching is 2 years time. It does not happen in 1 month, or it is not a fast track learning. It's a 1 year minimum. It takes 2 years for a severe child to cope up. You cannot cure, because this is not a disease. Child has to learn. In our school, they learn for 5 years, 6 years. Many children have joined colleges. The last day we will have few children we'll be taking an interview. On the last day, on 10th, there will be a success stories. They will come and discuss with you. They will share their experience. So slow learners, all these things, I'm not going to that. Now let's come to disorder of language, disorder of reading. Today we will be seeing disorder of reading, not languages. Okay. These are the early indicators. Trouble in learning the letter of alphabets. You can wait till 4 years. Let's not jump in before 4 years. Just wait till 4 years. See the child is able to read the alphabets. Then lack of grasping the rhyme. Consistently mispronouncing words. Difficulty naming objects. Difficulty reading from board. Making numerous reading errors. Poor spelling. Oral performance is better than written. A classical thing for a dyslexic. The mother will come and say, "Ma'am, I taught him everything. So in home, he orally said all the questions, all the answers. But I don't know what happened when he came to your school. He is not writing." Classical, very classical thing. So that's where you have to understand. These children will be good in oral. Oral performance is better than written. Fear of reading aloud. They will not read aloud, because they have the spelling problems. So they cannot read the words. Because of that, they mispronounce and poor spelling. So these are all indicators. It's called early indicators. You can find this before the age 7 or 8. Easily you can find. When they come to first standard, till first standard, please wait. Don't judge the child in LKG, UKG as dyslexic. Let us wait till 6 years, 7 years. Then we will do all this. But you can see these indicators. You can see these indicators from LKG, UKG. But we will not label the child as dyslexic. We will say at risk category. We will say at risk category. So this is what dyslexia is all about. When you don't properly understand the child, then comes the emotional challenge. Children get angry, they get frustrated, so they keep on fighting. They will misbehave sometimes. If appropriately the child is given another ability, if the child is given an opportunity, yes, the behavior is taken care, the emotional part is taken care. Otherwise, you ask him to just repeat and keep on making him to study for 10 hours, 12 hours. My goodness, after completing the school, the child goes to tuition, comebacks, rides. Even a very average children also does this nowadays. Dyslexic children always do this without giving time on other areas. So today, let's understand. My job was to introduce to dyslexia and emotional challenge, to getting to know the difference between difficulty and disability. So if today I have done this, I'm very happy. So tomorrow you will see reading challenges will be taken by Devi Priya. what you can do is you can go to the website, ask Helix Sendil, Dreams Will Academy, and this is my number. So you can always do a WhatsApp. And I think most of you are in a group, WhatsApp group. Don't leave the WhatsApp group. We'll be sending a lot of information on that, videos on that. So thank you today for attending the first day session, dyslexic and emotional challenges. If you're not identifying the child properly, understanding the child, it can cause emotional challenges. So in the emotional challenges, self-awareness, self-regulation is key. That really gives a sense of belongingness, ownership, self-esteem is kept high, and children should feel happy to come to school. Now, once you properly address, children will love coming back to school. I'm sure you can, I welcome you all to Helix School. November 5th, we are doing a open session with Sarada College. With Sarada College, Salem, we are doing an open session because that's our 22nd year. We are completing our 22nd year. As I told you, in Helix, vocations are very strong. We are teaching agriculture, fine arts, 3D printing, visual arts, YouTube making, photography. All these things are part of the subject. So do visit Helix School whenever you find time. All the school principals are welcome. You can bring your primary teachers to see how we are teaching here. What is the remedial methods we are using? Tomorrow, Devi Priya will be talking about that. Tomorrow's session will be on reading and strategies. On the third day, it will be maths and strategies. On the last day, it will be multiple intelligence. On the fourth day and the last day, I'll be coming up with few of my students who have achieved, who are in corporate world. They will be talking about how they coped up. I'm sure today's session would have been meaningful, would have helped you a lot. So thank you. See you tomorrow. Always keep in touch. We will answer. Thank you.